Good morning, Gardenia! Yeah, in case you're wondering or you're looking at my face watching this video, I got into a fight with a tree and lost yesterday. Thank you so much to Jim for covering. I know everybody had a great time. It sounded like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to hearing that whole episode this weekend. But yesterday, I spent the morning prepping our build site for the delivery of our big cabin frame, and it's here. It's in place. It's very exciting. This is a 16 foot by 40 foot prefab cabin, essentially, that we get to build out for the interior and the systems and everything else related to it. And uh, had a bit of a struggle with the delivery, where they ended up basically needing me to do uh, 3 hours of nonstop hustle, cutting down trees, working on a chainsaw to clear the path for this, because they put the 40-footer with a little one that we had with it. So it was a 52-foot load, not just a 40-foot load. And so some of the corners they asked me to cut down a lot. Unfortunately, it was a lot more than was necessary, but I've been working all morning getting the site ready, and I feel like I got in a fight with a tree and I lost at least one round, and so I got just some little scratches on my face. I got really lucky. I was wearing eye protection. I was wearing burly gloves, but it snapped back and hit me in the face, and I think it actually came off my glasses and hit me right there. And yes, I mangled my finger with the chainsaw earlier this week, which is kind of embarrassing and kind of cool, but it's down now to just like a funky little mangled scar. And my eyes are really red because I was just buried in tree pollen nonstop yesterday. And so finally took a shower this morning. Hopefully it'll wear off as we get into the show. We got a really exciting packed show with good news in history, cutting edge of human innovation. Excuse me. I should know my own segments for my special Friday shows, right? The cutting edge of human optimization, tech innovation, exploration, alien life, and understanding nature. Very heavy on human optimization today, and I feel like I've been piling some of these stories up throughout the week, going, oh my gosh, Friday's gonna be like Christmas. Here comes all the good news that we've been piling up in these categories. So the other thing is that we are going to be taking your calls today. CJ is going to get the link below wherever you're watching YouTube. I don't even want to say anymore. I am blessed to not have to know, because we have an awesome executive producer, CJ Abernathy, coming from South Dakota, and wherever he's broadcasting the show, him or Common Jim Freedom will be getting the links to call in, or the link to call in and stream. It's very easy. If your eyes are as wigged out as mine are this morning, and your face is messed up, feel free to use audio only. Same link. You just don't click the button to turn on your camera or face it away from you. Doesn't matter. We want to hear your voice. We want to get you on the audio production. Take your calls today. Best call. We'll take comments. Trolls will be fed. Don't worry, guys. But we're giving away one membership two memberships, I should say, but not top comment. Today it's Friday, Open Line Friday, in honor of Rush Limbaugh, who we spoke about earlier this week, getting to be coming to the end of his reign, so to speak. So, best caller and top super chat win membership in the Producers Club today. Let's get Comment Jim Freedom up on screen here. Mr. Freedom, how you doing today, brother? Did you have fun yesterday?
On? Doing well. Yes, I had a lot of fun yesterday. It flowed pretty well. I didn't have any links or news. I saved all that for you. I just rambled basically. People had fun though. It was a nice change up, I caught a few topics and I talk about it and give a strong opinion. Then I went through the comments really well. Had 2 callers yesterday. You should enjoy those when you end up watching the show. I thought it went pretty well. So
well, I did get to skim the headlines yesterday and today, but today I'm totally focused on good news because it's Friday. So if we skipped doing headlines yesterday, we might have a big day of catching up Monday. But I do want to point out, I have been keeping up with the news and skimmed all the headlines this morning. Not much. The mainstream media doesn't have anything. Be afraid of this now. That sort of you have to know. At least I don't think. Jim? Is there anything before we go on to anything else that's you're like this is a you gotta know kind of news piece?
Not that I can think of. No, it's all been same old kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean the impeachment trial of Donald J. Trump
Oh God.
continues. Yeah, exactly. That's all you need. Like, yeah, I'll stop.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'll stop. That's it. People are angry about Biden doing stuff.
Right. Of course. Biden's doing some tyrannical nonsense. Same old.
Yeah, a little more, fallout from January 6th in terms of, political bullshit and crackdown on domestic terrorists, but nothing that's like.
They keep the carrot and they keep the carrot on a stick pretty well in front of the masses by, I swear it's like once a week they come up with a new spin, a new way to pump out that you're that much closer to your $1,400 stimulus check. Like I just saw one the other day. It was like $1,400 stimulus checks passes vote in House of Weights and Measures or whatever, and then it's like now it has to go there, and if it approves there, it has to go there, and it has to.
Yeah.
They keep talking about it. They keep bringing it up, like it's almost like reminding people, like just a little longer, you're gonna get that 1,400. just a little longer. Just keep putting up with all this other bullshit that you're hearing about, and keep waiting on that 1,400 because we know you desperately fucking need it right now.
All right. Well, before we get to the promos and the comments and the good news, let's do a quick special segment and skim the headlines from the Producers Club of the last 48 hours. Kim Wood shares this. The nation's oldest juvenile lifer, Joe Ligon, left a Pennsylvania prison after 68 years. That's crazy. Good news. Matt Baxley. Man builds guitar out of his dead uncle's skeleton, uses it to play black metal. CJ, that's worth pulling up the visual for if you want to do that. Apparently, there's something going on with the Lincoln Project and a statement about missing money and corruption there. That was the people that put out a lot of the anti-Trump ads. Governor DeSantis from Kat Snyder via OANN. Governor DeSantis won't bend to Biden's attempt to restrict travel to Florida. Let's see. What else is it? People are talking about Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene as the bad girl in Congress. Oh, there it is up on screen, the skeleton guitar. That couldn't have been in the United States, could it? Like, they wouldn't let you do that with a skeleton here. Not that you shouldn't be allowed to, but I don't know if it was in somebody's will. Where was this? I just want to see where the skeleton guitar thing was. Is that weird? YouTuber. Greece, passed away in the 90s in Greece, donated a skeleton to the local college, was medically prepared for the school. After 20 years, he ended up in a cemetery my family had to pay rent on, like literally in a wooden box. It's a big problem in Greece because Orthodoxy religion doesn't want people cremated. So, wow. So he repatriated the remains, got the box of bones, and actually got them handed to him, and then decided to turn his uncle into a guitar. How about that?
Wow. That's crazy. Interesting. Did you see the one on there?
Skeletmaster.
Did you see the one on there from Breitbart that says bill could deem non-consensual condom removal illegal in California?
Yeah, no, and I mean, at first glance here, to me, if you have an understanding with someone that you're having sex and you're using a condom,
right?
And then you take the condom off, you are intentional. I mean, it's understood in that situation that a certain amount of risk is inherent, and condoms aren't perfect. But to intentionally remove that, relatively reliable protection, and not tell someone against their will, and to subject them to a risk that they didn't consent to was, by fraud is absolutely a violation. I'm sure they fucked up how they did it in the law in California, but I'm okay with the principle of this. If government restricted it to stuff, in this category, I'd have a lot less problems with government.
Right.
I got 99 problems, and all of them are with government. Let's see, what else do we have? Report: Biden removes jihadi group whose motto is death to America from global terror watch list. Yeah, okay. Yeah, people are upset with Biden doing stuff. What else did we miss here? White Jewish with Jewish lawyers on each side, the impeachment trial feels Talmudic. Yeah, yeah, all right. Cuomo aide Melissa DeRosa admits they hid nursing home data so feds wouldn't find out. What? Yeah, I mean, we'll save that for the next COVID block, I guess. But I suppose that's another "I told you so" for us, right?
Right.
Britney Spears won a legal victory against her father. Good news for her. Congratulations. Funny that you have to even have headlines like that. That what she has gone through is
Yeah.
even possible. I mean, not the going getting famous and losing her mind shit. I mean, yeah, separate set of
That happens.
empathetic feelings with that. But like that's but no, I mean you want to is that is also a product of. I mean, do you really want to make me find a way to blame this on government too? Because I will. No, but even the phenomena of pop stardom and fame that Britney Spears experienced was a product of intellectual property as a government racket and the effect that it's had on the music industry and how that has shaped that experience. Now, whether without that kind of thing, with the IP and record sales and control, would that have led to Britney Spears having the experience that she did exactly? Definitely not exactly. Maybe some version of it, maybe nothing like it at all. And certainly, it probably wouldn't have been her, in the selection process of who gets to be the superstar. But in terms of what she experienced with her father legally, I'm not an expert on the story, but as I understand, with the trusteeship and her as an adult trying to regain control and not only having to fight her father, but fight her father with the state backing him up for money that she earned. I'm sorry, fuck you, government. For this is like all the family law shit that we talk about with divorce and child custody, where the state is not a fair and impartial arbiter, but it is something that can be weaponized against other people, and it's sad that headline is a thing. Mercedes shares for popular mechanics. China swears it isn't.
Video of the guy playing the guitar, the skeleton guitar. Matt let CJ know, so CJ went and found it.
Nice. Wow. Wow, that is pretty fucking metal. I think that deserves a rip, right?
That's what You've Been T-Rolled said. You've Been Trolled said. He said creepy but metal as fuck. That's pretty true. He also said, I need stimulated to buy more Dogecoin. I want everybody to buy Dogecoin because I have a little bit. Oh, CJ, you missed the lit. He put his hands up. He said, damn it. Nobody gave him a warning. Keep holding it in. You got to admit it.
I couldn't do it. I guess he tried to test me every day.
Smoke weed every day. Hold up. Yeah, sorry about that one. There's a technical glitch on my end. But so real quick about this Biden terrorist group thing, I can't let you go past it without saying, wait a minute. Sure. So the libertarian motto is what, Adam?
Which one? I mean,
Well, what would
I
you
like
say?
live and let live.
Live and let live is a good motto, right? So that's domestic terrorism, but death to America is not terrorism. So maybe it's a marketing issue.
All right, death to America as we know it.
But yeah, I'll make sure
Now
the button
libertarians
gets
can be
fixed.
taken off the terror list.
I'll make sure the button gets fixed before the end of the show, so that way we can close out properly.
Yeah.
Well, it's Friday. My eyes are already fucked up. My face is already scraped up. Might as well smoke weed every day. All right, so back to these quick headlines. Mercedes posted from Popular Mechanics. China swears it isn't building a time machine. Oh my gosh. What world do we live in where one of the biggest governments in the world has to swear they're not building a time machine? All right. In Myanmar, the junta cracks down on crowds defying protest ban. Mercedes shared that from the AP. Some of these stories we are going to have to come back to on Monday. Mom charged with abuse after 12-year-old daughter's suicide. Missouri authorities say this from Matt Baxley. Do you even freedom, bro? We have new shirts. Oh shit! I missed this yesterday during the show yesterday. Do you even gym freedom, bro? All right, check that out. Hell yeah! No, I love the platform. One of the easiest merchandise operations we've had, and CJ is doing a great job adding stuff and managing that. I'm really grateful for it. All right, I think that's all the recent headlines that we got to skip through. So Jim, if you would, for today, Producers Club, remember two things you can do. Top super chat on YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Kokesh. And you can also have the top call-in for the day. So we got the call-in link out. Let's hear what people are winning if they join the Producers Club, shall we, Jim?
Okay, absolutely. Well, the Producers Club is our private Telegram chat, like the backstage chat. It's what he was just reading a lot of those news stories from. Those are news stories that were shared by viewers like you that joined the Producers Club one way or another and put their 2 cents in articles that they think are important into the group. And you see what Adam just did there. He does that regularly, goes through and sees what other people are talking about and what links they are, and sees if it's going to be on the show. So if you want to be a part of that private group, you can win access, like he said right there. If you don't feel like playing the contest or calling in or winning access that way, you can always go to adamversustheman.com. Right on the front page of the website there's a button called Patreon. Click on that. It'll show you all the different levels of ways you can support Adam in the show. $1, $5, $10, or even $50 a month. $10 a month is the sweet spot that gets you access into the Producers Club that I mentioned. And there's also, I should have mentioned first, is the public Telegram chat. This is the public Telegram channel that anyone can join, and everyone should also be a part of that. And you can also obviously be a part of that and be a part of the private channel as well. So check both of those out, and then head back to the website to check out the store that CJ's put together on AdamVersusTheMan.com. That new merch he just showed you, the new shirts he put, Do You Even Freedom, bro? I like that shirt. You got towels, coffee mugs, hip sack sweaters, everything you can think of, sandals. Actually, there's underwear on there for guys and girls, I believe. So get your orders in. Producers Club members, better patrons get 15% off and free shipping every time. After that, you can go back to the website that has everything, AdamVersusTheMan.com, and click on the button that says Cigar Federation. That's our affiliate cigar company that has many pages of exotically flavored cigars for you to try out. You can use promo code ADAM10, Adam10 will get you 10% off of your entire order. And that helps Adam out, helps him get his CBD JSK nugs so he can stay healthy with those. And then lastly, go to Instagram and check out @the Garden of Freedom to check. He's got a new picture up there you can see of the new prefab house he was talking about. Looks beautiful, looks great right there. I can't wait to see more of it. So get yourself connected to @the Garden of Freedom on Instagram and check out everything that's going on with Adam up there in Guardian. Back to you, buddy.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. Well, any comments you want to share, or callers ready in StreamYard backstage?
Lisa Wilson noticed Falky, who's been bugging me to go potty, so I'm gonna take him out here in a second. Thank
All
you
right.
very much, though, for saying nice, doggo.
Well, we got a bit of a fun block here, or a bit of a long fun block, really. I'll stop in the middle when I see if we have a caller. We'll get it up on the Producers Club, so check on that link below. Human optimization. We got a lot of fun stuff with this and stuff that I didn't even know if it would really fit into this category, but we're gonna put it in here anyway. So getting right into it. Koco.com, KOCO. I just did the right thing. Man injured saving baby after 29 car pileup on Oklahoma interstate. Now, I don't even want to share this video because it is actually kind of scary, but I don't know. CJ thinks it's appropriate. If you want to pull it up, there was a video in the Bullshitters Anonymous. No, not from the story, of the actual one of our other Telegram groups had the actual video footage of the pileup in Fort Worth recently, and it just made me think of this and how crazy this is that it's still a thing. I guess I'm not starting with much good news, am I? Yeah, government roads still a thing, still bad. Meh. But no, the reason I wanted to share this that there's the good news out of this accident is similar that happened in Oklahoma City that CJ's playing you the video footage from. With more slick roads and freezing temperatures predicted for the rest of the week, a man who thought he was going to die Monday while pinned against a car trying to save a baby is pleading with everyone to stay off the roads. We really have to tell people that you have to be this kind of hero to be told to like for people to say like, yeah, drive safe. It's crazy every year, and yeah, and it's to some degree, yeah, 40,000 people a year dying on the roads in the United States every single year. Can be blamed on government, and as our friend Walter Block, who's going to be a guest next week, has pointed out, if Hitler killed all those people, you wouldn't say, well, within that time, a bunch of them were old and they were going to die anyway, so he's not really responsible for them. Oh yeah, there's so many weird COVID parallels there. Can I get through one good news story without talking about the evil of government roads and COVID? Oh my gosh, I can't do it. Speaking with Coco 5, just before undergoing surgery Tuesday, Wakefield said he was driving one of the 29 vehicles that smashed into each other Monday morning near Interstate 40 and Agnew Avenue. A white Chevy in front of us started sliding and fishtailing. We tried to slow down, then we were fishtailing. We hit the white Chevy, which pushed us into a guardrail, and a Jeep smacked our door. Out of fear of getting hit again, he got out of his car. I heard the lady in the white Chevy screaming, my baby, my baby, my baby. But right before Wakefield reached for the baby, he said he heard a car get hit again. So I stepped in front of the door, and that's when the car behind me smashed me and pinned me there for a few minutes. Witnesses said the whole scene was emotional. There was a guy in the front trying to get a baby out of their car, and he got pinned. Wakefield said he finally got free when another car slipped on the ice. He hit the car into me again and bounced off of me, and that's how I was able to wiggle my way out. The baby was safe, but Wakefield was left with multiple broken bones. So yeah, wow. Tailbone broken, hip broken in 2 spots, pelvis in 4 places. So here's Mr. Wakefield, who will be in a wheelchair for 8 weeks after surgery. And I hope that we can take this as a positive news story that was shared in and just see that despite that, we get good news, and don't put anybody in that position ever again. All right, from goodnewsnetwork.org, scientists develop ultra-precise lasers to remove cancers without damaging healthy tissue. Scottish scientists have developed a system of lasers that melt away cancer cells without damaging normal healthy cells. The revolutionary treatment relies on a series of pulses that are short enough to melt the cancer cells, but too short for the heat to transfer to neighboring ones, a major hindrance in past work in the field. Harriet Watt University in Edinburgh is carrying on the long and celebrated tradition of Scottish medical breakthroughs nearly 100 years after physician Alexander Fleming isolated penicillin. The research in the laser tech was funded by a 1.2 million pound, that's like British pounds, not the weight, $1.6 million US dollars equivalent grant from the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council. Now, this is one of those things that to me is like, it's not just good news. Like, hey, we've got this new cancer development, because I know some people, might hear news like this and be tempted to be frustrated, but that there's not that all the natural cures for cancer. I mean, even cannabis, for what it's worth, in that regard. That's that we have those technologies, that natural medicine has been kept away from people in order to, for pharmaceuticals. All it does is delay something better, and whether it's this or whether eventually cannabis has to be legalized anyway, humanity triumphs. We render the circumstances of prohibition obsolete. Technology, even even if we look in that bigger context of government and freedom and history, even like, hey, guess what? We can laser cancers out of you now. We're just like, we're on the verge of that being. I don't want to say that's like, hey, this is here, as in, hey, we don't have to worry about cancer anymore. But it's one of those things that the technology exists. It's here. It's on the horizon. It's only a matter of time, if this is the best treatment, that it's going to be largely available. And some of the other good news for today, I do want to point out, there's another anti-government theme, woven into all of this, which is that, I guess within this realm of government being rendered obsolete by technology, but also accountability. That in the past, they could get away with lying about cannabis being evil and dangerous and makes Negroes want to have sex with white women. Just all the crazy propaganda around marijuana prohibition. And I finally have conditioned myself. I do call it cannabis. And now they can't get away with those kinds of lies anymore. When a new technology comes out and they go, hey, guess what? We can zap cancer out of everybody now. The chemo companies aren't going to be able to lobby Congress to be able to, with a straight face, go out and vote to make the cancer laser illegal, the way they have been led to make cannabis illegal and other more effective cancer treatments. All right. USA Today, another fun individual positive story. When this Michigan man with ALS couldn't feed himself anymore, he built his own feeding robot. With the flick of a switch, it comes to life. The aluminum robotic arm, situated on a dining room table and armed with a spoon, lifts itself above the bowl, then swoops down in one fell motion and scoops up a potato and comes to a stop, waiting for Matt McCown to lean down and bite. Simply said, McCown, 39, is a matter-of-fact, solution-driven man. When describing the first twitches and involuntary clenching, his narration is unencumbered by emotion, as he details a series of signs that led him to doctors. The first time was a muscle twitch in my left shoulder. He says, recalling back to July 2017, in about a month, the twitches spread to his entire arm. They're kind of intermittent, almost like the way fireflies let out, just kind of here, there, everywhere. My twitches are just like that. It took another couple of months when his left hand involuntarily closed during yawn for McCown to reach out to his doctor. Getting diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, more commonly referred to as ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, is a lengthy process because there's no singular test for neurodegenerative disease. Doctors essentially test for other diseases, and if all yield negative results, then an ALS diagnosis is typically the answer. ALS, which is usually fatal in 2 to 5 years, affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord, causing people to lose their ability to control their limbs and their speech. So, I think that's enough to set the stage for this story, and go on and look up some of these, incredible pictures of what he's achieved here. But also to say that what he was able to do here and what the technology makes possible is that as you see these diseases coming, you're able just, hey, I want this machine and I can make it eventually. Just what we're able to do with robotics is going to render so many physical disabilities irrelevant. And then we get to upload our brains into machines, right? All right, so this next story, Las Vegas Review Journal, this is one where I wasn't sure, like, do we have a category for this? There are a couple stories like this today that are really like government social innovation stories that I decided to include in the cutting edge of human optimization. And this headline from reviewjournal.com is Bill would allow tech companies to create local governments. And what I was first thinking was like, wait, what was stopping them from really doing that before effectively, as a lot of them have been with large, campuses or sprawling, business developments. But this now deliberately saying you could form a new local government under a corporate legal framework. And what strikes me here is that it's as opposed to an individual level. And I would hope that there's some places like Texas where to incorporate a new city is a very, very low threshold legally, easy set of hurdles to clear. In some places, it's much more difficult. But if they're going to say that a corporation has the right to do this, I don't think they could make it any harder for an individual or group of people or a community. So I see this just generally opening up of flexibility and social organization and statism. Like this is progress. This is a cool story. So Carson City, if you've got enough money, acres upon acres of undeveloped land and an innovative technology, you soon could form a new local government in Nevada. When Governor Steve Sisolak last month announced his plan to launch innovation zones in Nevada to jumpstart the state's economy by attracting new tech companies, the details of how those zones would operate proved scarce. According to a draft of the proposed legislation obtained by the Review Journal, but not yet introduced in the legislature, innovation zones would allow tech companies like Blockchains LLC to effectively form separate local governments in Nevada, governments that would carry the same authority as a county, including the ability to impose taxes, form school districts, and justice courts, and provide government services, to name a few duties. So obviously, this is not, hey, you get to do what you want on your own private property and call it what you want. This is within a very specified legal framework. But that doesn't make it, bad. Bad thing is a matter of progress. Anything that gives a company this option, when a company makes this decision, should we form a new locality, a new city government, it's done with the bottom line in mind, which unfortunately is perverted in a lot of ways by government. But in a free market, that's determined by creation of value. So this is really cool how this came about, though. Of course, Blockchains LLC and their role. The Sisolak pitched the concept to, in a state of the state address, is his plan to bring in new companies. Sorry, I should go back. Oh no! All right. Excuse me. Sisolak pitched the concept in his State of the State address as his plan to bring in new companies that are at the forefront of groundbreaking technologies, all without the use of tax abatements or other publicly funded incentive packages that had previously helped Nevada bring companies like Tesla to the state. During his speech last month, Sisolak specifically named Blockchains LLC as a company that had committed to developing a smart city in the area east of Reno that would run entirely on blockchain technology once the legislation passes. The draft, which would change before it's unveiled as a formal bill, provides the first look into the details behind the concept. And this is really exciting. The draft language of the proposal says that the traditional local government model is, quote, inadequate alone to provide the flexibility and resources conducive to making the state a leader in attracting and retaining new forms of businesses and fostering economic development, emerging technologies, and innovative industries. The government is admitting that they have failed here. And we are at the point historically where in the United States, in order for states to compete amongst each other for business as they do in the existing framework, they have to not just offer tax breaks and business incentives and corporatism, they also have to give them freedom to create new cities. And I think an individual, if I on my own land here want to declare myself an independent municipality and I'm not within some existing one that I agreed to when I bought this land, or even then, if I want to secede entirely and be sovereign on my own land, I should have that right. Any community should have the right to, even within the United States, within a country that pretends to be free, to form a city. And if the city is not respected by the bigger government around it, to simply secede and say, well, we as our community are going to run ourselves, run this society by our values, and you're not going to force yours on us. But if it's a company, why not? Same thing. Of course, ultimately, individuals have to be responsible. And this is one of the critical problems with corporatism that is going to be an issue with this. Limited, I mean, even here it's Blockchain's LLC. As much as I'm a huge fan of blockchain and Bitcoin and everything with that decentralization that is moving humanity forward, it's an LLC. It's a government limited liability corporation. It is a licensed government entity. And in the title there, limited liability. Government protects people in corporate legal frameworks from legal liability. They allow them to create these extrajudicial entities that, in a sense, are, I don't know, extrajudicial is the right term, but have certain limited liability, are not subject to, like, you as an individual, if you do something, you're liable for it. They have limited liability, and they have ways that corporatism, loopholes, all sorts of advantages allow them to do things that you as an individual couldn't get away with. But if a group of people form a community, call it a corporation, and say we want to exercise our right to form a new community on land that we own and a new city and a new local government, they should absolutely have that right. I'd like to see it done, you know, that we are getting to this point, and this is Nevada doing this, right? And it's not even there yet. And this is something that we see as inevitable social development right now as a matter of competition that may take several election cycles to come to legal reality, perhaps a generation to come to economic fruition, where we can point to it and say, that was good. Other states have to do this now in order to compete. And then other governments around the world have to do that. And just what we're capable of today, I mean, having a building delivered, you know, boom, you got enough money, city out of nowhere, just like that. Well, you don't need government's permission to say, I want to create a new community. And now government is so obviously in the way of that Nevada gets this economic advantage by creating innovation zones. And it's not new. I don't want to pretend like this is new. Like I'm sure this has happened in American history, but I think of, you know, the economic freedom zones in the Middle East and Dubai and several places like that. So, Jim, let's check in. I got to refresh my screen again. CJ's doing such a good job with the graphics. StreamYard can't keep up. Do Good Minds, did you hear about the cat lawyer? That's our next headline. Are you seriously someone looking at the links and going, did you hear about the cat? Like they're just like, get to the next story, or was someone, is that just
he
like,
actually said that a little bit ago.
What?
No, he said that a little bit ago, so he just has some foresight. Yeah, the comment was at 10:33. That was 10 minutes ago he said that.
Well, should we? I have not watched this video yet. It's 43 seconds. Should we pull it up and have a talk while we do this and see if anybody wants to call in? That's the story where I found it on Good News, and it was I don't know. I just had to include this. This is another one where I'm like, I don't know what section to put this in. Cutting edge of human optimization. That we can't turn these filters off. CJ, yeah, there we go.
It's a sad cat filter too. It looked like it was all pouty face looking. The cat looks so sad. I'm only getting if CJ's giving me the axe. It's only loading a few seconds. That's all you can get of it, I guess. Or no audio. Yeah, it's just no audio. But that's weird. It. Well, that sucks that there's no audio. We can't hear him saying, "I'm not a cat."
Yeah, right.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's funny though. That is pretty funny. I wonder how many people are gonna go.
Hold on,
you know what?
No, there's audio with
now just to be a troll.
Hold on, there is audio with it. Try it again, CJ. There's audio with this one.
The video settings, you might want to Take a
We're
look.
trying to, can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Oh man.
That's hilarious. You know what's even more hilarious? He even has the perfect voice for a sad cat. He's like,
Yeah. So I've been to court more than the average American, let's just say. And I always observe and I sit through the other hearings on the docket when I have to go to court. And I see a lot of different legal strategies, and I've seen some weird, like, lawyers trying to present for a very weird emotional appeals. Like, I've seen lawyers come in, like haggard in their appearance, mussed hair, like loose ties, dirt on a suit, but still fully dressed up, suit and tie, respectful. I've seen weird affect, like, and it makes me wonder, is the attorney here intentionally doing this so that he can blame, or you know what I mean? He can blame Zoom or blame someone else using the computer or turn the filter on. But I've never used Zoom filters, but I've had a filter once go off without my intent on Facebook, but I fixed it with a few clicks, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you could have gotten a 43-second clip out of this, but yeah, with his voice kind of sounding like sad cat, I'm like, I wonder if he's got something else in his head there.
That's funny. I'm wondering how many people are going to try to use this in the future. Oh, I got to go to virtual court. I can't get the filter off. We're going to have to just do it this way. I'm curious if they let him go through with it or if he got the filter off. Also, that would be cool.
No, Jim, that is fucking brilliant, and I can't believe I didn't think of that because, yeah, you think about how to, but no, it's not just can you get away with being funny in court, which I should have thought of right away anyway, and be like, well, if a lawyer got away with it, and it's like that's a thing now, like because the video got how many views?
A lot, probably millions, maybe. I don't know.
I thought I saw something like I saw a big number on this one. Maybe I'm wrong.
I can't read this screen. Look.
But I think everybody should share this because it's funny and it's shareable by itself. It's
9 million views, 9.6 million views.
Wow. Okay, and from February 9. Okay, wow. So 9 million views in 3 days. And see, I think this one has some longevity. Like, I'm gonna share this separately. I think you should share this video because it's got like two potential. Not only is it just this shit is stupid, and like it's a lawyer, like, and I don't know if he's a prosecutor or defense. Does it say here?
I have a question while you're figuring that out, Adam. My question would be, this stream that we're sharing here with the 9 million views comes from the Texas 394th District Court of Texas live stream. Are they monetized?
Oh.
But the article says with 20 million views online, so they must be counting another post or two somewhere where it's going viral. But also, Jim, think about this: if this becomes a thing, Zoom is an acceptable thing, for a period in court, and sometimes filters are on and you can't get them off. You can have someone else appear for you. But that was always kind of a thing anyway. Like in regular court, like even pre-COVID, it always kind of shocked me that they don't check IDs. Like they'll call a case and it'll be like, and now the United States versus Kokesh, defendant, please rise and take the stand or come to the bench or whatever. And they don't check my ID. And like in my case, maybe they're not worried, like they know me, but for a lot, like even before I got, I remember even going to court before I became any kind of public figure, they don't check ID in court. Isn't that weird? I wonder if more
Yeah,
people
it
know.
is now that you think of it. I never thought of that, but I'm curious how. I mean, I could see some people doing it, for their family members or something. But I guess the court just thinks nobody's gonna go take a charge that's not theirs. You know what I mean? Hey, yes, I did that. You know what I mean, or whatever. Or I'm gonna, I don't know. I guess maybe that's what they think, that nobody's going to put themselves into a legal dispute that, you know. And they probably have some law written down somewhere in the books that will put you in prison for 20 years if you did do it.
Yeah, so maybe it's like a trap they want people to walk into, and they have other ways of catching you. And we shouldn't tempt anybody with breaking the law with a cat filter. All right, anyone, no callers. I'm
I don't
not
know.
seeing
The
anything in the
techno
group chat.
the cat filter thing is still no callers yet. The cat thing is still, that's a different area though, because it'd be easy and there's no way for them to prove or disprove whether or not you understand the mechanics of Zoom and how to turn the filter off. You know what I mean? It's a computer thing, so computer could be glitching. You know what I mean? There's too many unknown factors in a virtual setting that you could use as a, as an
And then
excuse or
there
whatever that you
are
can get away with
no,
in real world.
and then there are the known knowns, the unknown knowns, and the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns, and the unknowable unknown. Yeah, okay, so Yoel and D-Roll, you've been D-rolled. I'm sure they have a mugshot or copy of the driver's license photo in the case jacket. Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah, they're looking at a picture of you behind the, behind the bench. Yeah, that makes sense. There's that too. But if you looked close enough, like they don't hold up the picture like when they're IDing you for booze. Like it's just, I mean, I'm not saying, like a woman could go in and pretend to be a man. Like, no, you have to kind of look like the person. But then with the
Right.
filter, with a cat filter on, who knows what you could get away with? I don't know. I'm not some hacker out there, some systems hacker is gonna push the limit on this and see what they can get away with, and sooner or later, if this continues, we'll have the answer. Although this does kind of lead me to believe that even for the convenience of state enforcement, you think about the legal system and everything else, that either they're going to make COVID less relevant, like they can't make it more restrictive than it is on government. Like it's going to have to come down just for not being so hard for enforcement for some things, and for courts to function. I'm thinking we're more likely to go to like disposable hazmat suit world, where like you go to a courtroom and in the entryway, they give you a hazmat suit and a plastic bubble, and it's just, you walk in and it's just to do everything normal, and it's disposable, and you walk out and you put it in a hamper and it gets either re-sterilized or completely recycled somehow. But eventually that's going to be so cheap and practical, they're not going to be able to do this. Although the court from home, I've experienced that in a hybrid session when I was there in person, when I was testifying for a friend of mine in a probation status hearing, and they had some people on monitors, and they had some of us in person in the court, where I was able to address the judge, but not from the normal place where the attorneys were allowed to stand and testify. But I was granted the privilege of speaking briefly from a few rows back in the gallery where we were sitting with appropriate distance.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. The hazmat suit world. I was thinking about that actually, now that you mentioned that. The other day you were talking about that being the worst they could go. Like if you were in a hazmat walking down the road, there's literally nothing anybody could do to you because you could put. But I think about that and I think, well, government would just say, oh, no, you can't be trusted just because you're wearing that suit now. You might go around the corner and take it off. We don't, you know what I'm saying? There's always a future crime that they
But
can punish you
then
for
you
for
okay, so
thinking
you
about
get
committing.
tickets.
You know,
So you get tickets for being in public. For like I said, the worst they can do is bully us into hazmat suit world. And I've never said that's going to be a pleasant process, or that like keeping us
right?
there is not going to involve sustained bullying, like citing people for stuff. But already it's acceptable to be eating without a mask around other people. But there are places where you have to wear your mask walking through a restaurant. Then you sit down, you can take it off. I think they could take that away too. They could say, no, you can't eat around or drink around another person. You have to have the suit on at all times and when you're within 6 feet of another person or sharing contained airspace. And so you cannot eat or drink during that time. Like it could get that bad. I mean, I don't think that's a likely possibility, but I think that's one that we need to consider because there are elements of that where it is going in that direction. I mean, honestly, I don't know at this point. One of the other bigger headlines today was I think Biden saying we're gonna have 600 million vaccine doses and masks are gonna be with us till at least next year.
By
And
July.
yeah, that's what they're saying. All right, so what was that comment?
Moose Girl said, open a hazmat clothing store.
Ah, if you're not already, see, this is one of those things where a sudden shift in economic demand, market demand that is manifest not by a gradual shifting trend in demand or technological or production circumstances, but based on a government policy that changes it like this, it really takes away the potential for entrepreneurs to have any kind of relevant role in that space, in that niche, because the existing major manufacturers and retail chains are going to have a huge advantage in shifting to that. So start a hazmat clothing store in terms of an economic opportunity, unless you're already trying to figure out to do with your what to do with your $1 million of now unused retail space that's a retail real estate that's going out of just prices plummeting, or you've got some manufacturing facility that isn't making stuff suddenly because of COVID, then shift over to hazmat suits. But I mean, if you're a designer, yeah, maybe maybe you can design the next convenient hazmat suit. Well, the other element of this that's missing is the design of the full hood and hazmat suit that you could pull out of an envelope and have make it disposable. Although I'm sure there are people working on that, but that would also be recyclable, so that like as soon as you go into a government building, you wear your thing, you take it off, you throw it. Like I said, that part is missing. If you can figure that out, yeah. If you're an engineer, if you're a chemical engineer or some other kind of tinkerer who can make some part, or designer or even fashion designer. Yeah, I hate to say it because you're profiting off of fear, but there is a market demand that I think is going to be with us for a while for that.
Yeah, horrible. So that's it. We're all caught up on comments. So you want to get to your next block here?
All right. Well, we still got human innovation. Jumping ahead to this next. Well, no, this is next in the goodnewsnetwork.org pile. And I didn't. This is another one. I didn't know what section to include this with, but to me, this is a story of the scrutiny of the internet working in the background in a way that the story doesn't even mention. I don't think. But the headline: GoodNewsNetwork.org, Nigerian villagers score victory for humanity when a court verdict slams Shell oil for liability after years of spills. Four Nigerian farmers have won a 13-year legal battle against Shell oil after a spill allegedly contaminated their lands. The David versus Goliath story went all the way from the rural Niger Delta to the Hague Court of Appeal, resulting in the farmers being compensated with further mandates for both safety and cleanup being pressed upon parent company Royal Dutch Shell. Now, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, I think something to this effect: justice delayed is justice denied. And to have to deal with this for 13 years is a tragedy, and that they're being I hope they're being compensated for that delay as well. But there have been so many other cases before this that didn't succeed like this, that simply where Shell and other major corporations, oil companies in particular, were able to victimize people, to destroy property without taking accountability for it. And so now that this is happening, this is amazing. So going ahead to the details here, along with arbitrating a statement, the court found that Shell Nigeria lacked any kind of leak detection system in the pipeline and wells in and around the Goi and Aruma communities, and that state-of-the-art systems must be installed or risk a $121,000 per day fine. Actually listed as a €100,000 fine, but who the hell knows what that is. Furthermore, local cleanup operation was found to be insufficient and was ruled that Shell must conduct a much more thorough cleaning of the oil from the waters and farmland. So this is this wasn't the only case won by locals in the developing countries over the last 12 months. A succession of legal victories for indigenous groups both in Panama and Brazil transferred approximately 250,000 hectares, more than 500,000 acres of rainforest from state ownership under which illegal logging thrived, to tribal communities. So, why is this happening now? I think it's not like government suddenly got righteous. It's that these stories have been around for so long, and I don't like these are tragedies. You talk about pollution, oil companies, lack of respect for individual or community claims to land. These are millions of lives that have been impacted. How many lost or cut short, hard to count. To put this in historical context, it's a product of the technology coming about at a time when governments still ruled the system of justice and we didn't have the accountability of the internet. If we had gotten the internet earlier, and when Royal Dutch Shell destroys land and you can put it on your phone and put it on the internet and it's around the world in 10 seconds, it's harder to get away with shit. And even now, what we're seeing is this accountability for damage that were caused years ago, where already these companies are operating with an awareness that, hey, there's this new level of accountability that didn't exist before the internet, before social media. And as much as we want to complain about censorship on social media, there's still some irrefutable ways that it is an incalculable force for good in terms of increasing the internet's capability of holding people accountable. So I see this as really good news. A lot of also why we experienced this was simply that the technology, the people employing the technology, like with the major BP oil spill like this one, where it says that they didn't have, leak detection systems. Really? You're gonna because they knew at the time, or they thought at the time, these oil companies, that, hey, it's cheaper for us to fight this legally and have government protect us from any real legal liability and just ruin land than install leak detection systems. I mean, that's fucking insane when you boil it down. Like, that's the calculus that corporations make when government allows them to do that, when government is weaponized to serve the corporate class. And now, again, the timing historically is pre-internet, and yeah, maybe it's as simple as that. It took the internet to raise the level of accountability to stop that. All right, another story in human optimization. This is a fun one. Yale is offering its popular happiness course to some high school students for free, including college credit. In 2018, Yale professor Laurie Santos introduced a new course, Psychology and the Good Life, to address the growing mental health needs of students on campus. It was an immediate success, attracting more than 1,200 undergraduate enrollees that first semester before it was transformed into the most popular online course in Yale's history. Now the course is being offered for free in more than 550 low-income high school students to more than 550 low-income high school students across the U.S. The students will receive free college credits upon completion. Our goal is to equip students with scientifically validated strategies for living a more satisfying life while also creating opportunities for high-striving low-income students and students of color to demonstrate college readiness. Now, yeah, don't worry, I'll find a way to blame government with this story too. So this is, I mean, regardless of blaming government, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful application, and I have to put this in good news and cutting edge of human optimization because it's applied psychology. It's not just, hey, well, this is how the brain works. Okay, it's like, how then shall we live? How do we live better? How do we live happier lives? And that being manifest this way is so powerful because it is and so needed. But I hate to point out a similar thing to say like cancer medicines that we covered earlier, kind of leapfrogging technologies, like because cannabis was suppressed as cancer treatment. You know, we missed this period where we could be using it, and then zapping cancers out of you with lasers becomes the thing. Of course, cannabis becoming legal as a preventative is also going to be huge in this as well. But here I see in education, there's a similar manipulation of the education system that has taken out civics from high school, right, and middle school, sort of barely a thing when I went through that in the 90s. Personal economic or financial responsibility, they teach you at some point, how a checkbook works, but they don't really teach you how to organize personal finance. At least I didn't get that experience. A lot of Americans don't get that experience going through government schools. I got it piecemeal, other ways. They don't teach you like basic political education. It might be like wrapped up with civics, but they're basic things like this, or home buying, right? How to buy a house if that's what you're going to do, because if the real estate industry relies on people being kind of ignorant when they go to buy their first house. Makes them easier to manipulate, and this is one of those things where all of that manipulation of the education system leads to Americans and a lot of humans in first world countries graduating from high school being considered adults and yet being stunted in their development in a lot of ways as human beings. And it leads to a lot of the modern psychological ills that society has experienced. Of course, I'm an optimist about that too. The more that we're aware of them, the more we're able to address them, the better off we are overall. But this particular application that we're seeing in classes like this, where it's about optimizing happiness. The online course was titled the Science of Well-Being. I don't know, I might be mixing the stories here, but one of the Santos, one of the professors involved, said this is a really challenging time, and that means that students need to learn new strategies to protect their mental health. Our goal is to give students the tools they need to flourish and feel better, but in addition, we give students a rigorous Yale educational experience and an opportunity that they have what it takes to succeed in college and beyond. Now, part of this too, I mean, you could talk about colleges finally having to compete after being subsidized for so many years, and still obviously subsidized student loan programs. But it's almost cliche to talk about students graduating from college with debt and no practical skills. So the application of all of this, even if it's sort of too little, too late, or it's compensatory, this is good. This is leading to more of a shakeup in what educational resources are being dedicated to. And the story here ends. Educators, students, or parents who would like to bring psychology and the good life to their schools can express interest on Santos's website. Now, to all the libertarian curmudgeons out there who would say, Adam, what does this have to do with libertarianism? And for the record, I'm a thin libertarian, not a thick libertarian. What those mean are those terms. Thin is that libertarian means something very thin and narrow. Thick is that libertarian means lots of things. I'm a thin libertarian. Libertarianism means freedom, self-ownership, the non-aggression principle, ethics, things like that, right? Property through mixing your labor with natural resources, social consent, blah, 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 blah. All of these, but these are thin, very simple core principles that really boil down to self-ownership and the non-aggression principle, property rights. However you want to boil that down, right? Very simple. Thick libertarianism, well, it has all this implication. And I think that those are not part of libertarianism, but they are implied by libertarianism. And one of the implications that a lot of people miss in libertarianism is the significance of mental health. And that I mean this in a number of ways. One, in that the ways that government is a racket that is intended to take advantage of you does so by manipulating your mental health. Maybe not yours personally, but society as a whole, through the news, through fear mongering, through political propaganda. That is not just designed to confuse you, but confusion should be enough of an assault on your brain to say, screw you, but to increase anxiety and fear. I mean, do I really have to explain all of these things? But that makes you more manipulatable when you are subject to that emotional manipulation. And it's something that I've always been a big advocate for, and it's in the book, in Freedom, freeatthefreedomline.com, in the section on personal freedom and happiness, that it is one of the great gifts of human freedom and consciousness that although you are an animal who responds to stimuli, your response to the response in your own mind, your conscious response to that response, that is your choice. And reclaiming that emotional sovereignty is absolutely critical to freedom. And one of the ways that they take that from us is from this emotional manipulation. And we can protect ourselves by simply being conscious of it. But one of the ways that we are controlled is, oh, don't talk about that. Don't talk about your issues. That's embarrassing. But let's be open about that. Let's help move humanity forward. All right, we got a caller. Daryl is backstage. Thank you for getting that up on screen. That is what the Freedom Line looks like. Thank you, CJ. Let's go to our caller, Daryl, first caller of the day. How you doing, brother?
What's happening? I'm glad. Can you hear me okay?
Sounds great.
All right, Adam, I haven't seen you in I don't know, since, I thought I saw you covering a protest in D.C., near the White House. You were filming with your camera. And I think we shared a median in the middle of the road. We were both filming from the same angle, but I haven't seen you in several years, and it's great to hear you're still active and really helping people navigate basically a mousetrap of tyranny in our country, in our world. And it's you're a sane voice. You have a lot of knowledge. You're not snotty like some people get. Sorry.
It's tempting. I get worried because I've been saying "I told you so" a lot lately. But enough blowing smoke, man.
Yeah.
Are you still making music?
I've been playing guitar now going on 45 years, and I'm living in Cocoa Beach now. I escaped D.C. in 2019, and I came down to Florida to drive a cab. But I had to. That fell apart. But I've been playing guitar and I've been writing music. Haven't been able to find a good bass player and drummer though, which is real hard. But I was teaching. I've given some guitar lessons here. But I'm at a kava bar called Bula. If you ever come down here, you'd really like this place. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
But
I'll book tour later this year.
You should definitely. Cocoa Beach is like a whole nother world. No one's muzzled up. It's really nice. But I came across this woman named Kristen Megan. Have you heard of her?
Of course, yeah. We're old friends back from the Ron Paul days.
Wow. Well, then I don't need to mention she's really been outspoken about this whole, this mask thing, and I provided a link to something.
This is the Kristen Megan who was in the Air Force, right? And
I think she was in the Army. Maybe not.
She had some health role in the military, and then her health-related role, and then was outspoken about that.
Exactly. That's a free thing that's I caught on Twitter. She shared the link for that.
I'm sorry, I'm confusing with someone else. But yeah, no, I do remember her work going way back.
Well, I just found her about it in the past month. There's also a gentleman named Matt, and he has been I don't know, he's a really smart fella. He is not a veteran, though. he really does have a lot of good ideas, and I thought that he would be a good guest for you. And I think I donated last year. I think I donated $10 once because I'm living on a shoestring budget. But not being in the producers club, but still, I wanted to suggest the Show Me Baby. His name's Matt, and he's
man, we'll get you. And you've donated music before. I think I still have the video up on YouTube that you did the soundtrack to.
yes, song I called it "Welcome Home." Because my dad didn't like "Thank You for Your Service." I mean, he never talked about Vietnam, but I do know that he loved to hear "Welcome Home." And the second time he came home, he was completely shattered. He wasn't the same man, and I lost touch with him. And he took his life when I was 16. So as a son of a veteran, I'm real concerned about the generational impact of war and what it has on our kids. Now you go ahead and get indoctrinated into that, what you've experienced, and it's such a betrayal to the trust that people give of their bodies and souls, but they're really serving cartels. And it's so hard for people to pull that veil off, and that's one of the things you do that I really think people need to understand. And as a veteran yourself, that really makes a statement for people.
Yeah, no, well, so for people who don't know, Daryl and I were much more in regular contact when we were both active with the anti-war movement in DC. I think we're getting a little feedback from your end, but Daryl, you're coming through clear enough for me. I mean, I like to think we're breaking the cycle. Does it from what I recall of the momentum of militarism, even back when you and I were working together in DC, and I guess it was mostly 2007, 2008, 2009. We've come a long ways.
Yeah, I think I was talking to you. There was a silent auction at a friend of mine's house in Tacoma Park, Maryland. That's when I first met you.
Yeah.
And you were talking in the back with Jeff Millard.
Yeah.
And I said to you, you should run for office. And it was like, but
oh, we can blame you for being the asshole who got me started then.
I'm guilty, man. I mean, it just seems like a lot of the great people who have a lot to offer this country, who are in a position of experience, they really get shunned by the mainstream media. If you have like this pragmatic, practical approach to things and honest, they just really don't want to hear you unless you've got some kind of Johnson & Johnson with you. And so you got my vote, and I've been a libertarian for a long time because of your influence. And when I left DC, I didn't know it was going to happen. And I'm really lucky that I escaped that gulag, because where I am now is a complete contrast. So I put up the Show Me Babies link if you guys want to invite him on. He's really cool.
Yeah, we'll do it. Well, Daryl, I think your echo cancellation is off. It might be causing an issue here, but just to wrap things up, just want to give you a chance. Is there anything you'd like to promote?
My channel, D Vincent W, since April of 2007. There's like 30 original songs on there. There's some cop watching in DC. I audited the DHS near American University a couple times, and I only got into it because the cops started messing with me in 2008. And that's when I started going police, because they started hassling me. So that's about it. My channel, 14 years on YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the call, Daryl. We'll get you in the producers club.
Take care, Adam.
All right. So we haven't even got through the first block of human optimization. It's a lot of good stuff today, although it is our biggest block. So we're going to jump right back into the headlines. GoodNewsNetwork.org. Pakistan sees record drop in terrorism last year, with attacks down 45% compared to 2019. Now, there are a lot of ways you're expecting me to jump in and be skeptical on this, but there's no way you can say this isn't good news. Once routinely in the news for all the wrong reasons, Pakistan is now a much safer place than it used to be. The South Asian nation has seen a reduction in terrorist attacks on home soil by 86% since 2013, and between 2019 and 2020 alone, there was a 45% fall. Now, some of you might say that this is, well, all the terrorism is false flag. It's all created by government. And it's like, yeah, well, even if that were the case and it was that simple, well, government's making less terrorism. Good news, right? And I think this goes to this theme I've been trying to weave through here of the accountability in the era of the internet. There's a different, sense that we get when we know the whole world is watching. So, another one from the Good News Network. This is related. Australia has experienced one of the most astonishing drops in crime ever recorded by any country. The old newsroom adage, if it bleeds, it leads, did not apply to Australia recently, as editors covered the front pages with positive headlines about one of the world's most dramatic drops in crime rates ever reported in a developed nation. Since 2001, break-ins have fallen by 68%, motor vehicle theft by 70%, robbery by 70%, attempted murder by 70%, and murder rates by 50%. I wonder what that says. It's more of the unsuccessful murderers who are not attempting than the successful murderers who are still determined. Murder rate still down 50%. Overall homicide, including manslaughter, plummeted by 59%. So reasons for the decline include less alcohol consumption, according to this, among young people, improvements in the economy with lower unemployment, improved access to better safety technology in cars and homes. Furthermore, black markets and stolen goods have dried up, creating a greater risk for thieves. In 2000, this wasn't the case. A book published by a team of Australian social scientists called The Vanishing Criminal bears witness rising crime rates were the norm, like other English-speaking nations in the 70s and 80s. So there's a lot you can attribute to this. And here we're talking, about private crime, obviously, not so much terrorism, which, whether it's privately or publicly funded, is in a different kind of category. But if you say that government's going to have some responsibility for addressing crime, they can only drag their feet and be shitty about it to justify bloated budgets for so long. But also, the failure and progress with government is, really related to governments not taking account for what are the root causes of criminality and psychological deficiency, want, trauma, violence, fear, all the things the government might have something to do with. But just by getting to a state of greater economic security for the average human being, the incentives for crime go way down, right? If your life is nasty, brutish, and short, not only are you in a position where you benefit more from stealing, but you have less of a consequence for murdering someone. And also pre-technology, more likely to being able to get away with it. So just having the implications of that, and again, it's a tragedy that government has slowed down the implementation of these technologies, but hey, at least it's progress. All right, I said in the title for today's show that we talk about office pods. CNN style, as this headline, Nissan's office pod imagines a new kind of remote working. Forget working from home. This camper van is for those who want to work from anywhere. Inspired by the new realities of the COVID-19 era, Nissan's concept vehicle features a retractable office for remote workers and digital nomads. Dubbed Office Pod Concept, the mobile workspace comes with a modified Cosm chair by U.S. furniture maker Herman Miller and desk space big enough for a large computer monitor. Those seeking privacy can set up inside the pod with the doors closed. Ambient lighting gives the office a futuristic feel, while electric shade helps deter prying eyes. Now, if you think of this just as a cool design for a camper shell with an office built in, I think it's pretty badass. But what this inspires, in and of itself, not that revolutionary, right? I mean, I have an RV bus parked right there, 15 feet away, that has a chair and a desk space in it. It's not perfectly tailored for this. I wish it was. That's kind of what's cool about this, is that they have a really conscientiously designed office space built into a camper van or an RV. Now with this one, it looks like if this office pod were fully compacted into the RV, there wouldn't be room for much of a bed or anything else. But who knows how they've got, maybe the ceiling pops out, maybe that vertical thing, maybe it folds up in some other cool ways. But even barring my skeptical inclinations about the practicality of this particular vehicle, the fact that it exists as it is, and that there's a demand for this, and that people are manufacturing for this, that we have the productive capacity to produce such crazy luxury goods is really cool. But even more powerful than that for me is the conscientious design of an office space. I mean, right now I am in the building that we had delivered to be our studio office, and because it's not done, I still have it's just me, curtain, camera in front of me here for the time being. But I love this. I have an office space with windows. I have a big desk. I have, when it's done, I have everything I could possibly want right here around me. Great view security wise out the front of my road. And for people, I've had so many other great fantasies about office spaces that I want to attach different buildings around the property here. But for some people, that's a camper shell, or that's a camper van, or an RV of some kind. And that people are basically, the RV industry is responding to this shift in demand around COVID to create sustainable portable workspaces where it's not just here's a little vacation RV, you can squeeze a couple of kids in here and have a functional bathroom. It's this is designed for someone to live and work permanently on the road. Already something that's been happening, to see that the market, or the production side of the market, is responding. Very cool, good news. All right, into our tech innovation. We're going to burn through some headlines until I see a caller on, or I get too much cottonmouth and have to check in with Jim. Wall Street Journal: the battery is ready to power the world. After a decade of rapidly falling costs, the rechargeable lithium-ion battery is poised to disrupt industries. Rechargeable lithium-ion batteries were first commercially used in handheld camcorders in 1991. Laptops soon followed a decade later. Batteries enabled the rise of tech titans such as Apple Inc. by powering smartphones and wearable devices, then made their way into electric vehicles. The basic technology throughout remained pretty much the same. Lithium ions move through a liquid from the cathode to the anode and back again. This, however, was just the beginning. After a decade of rapidly falling costs, the batteries reached a tipping point. No longer just for consumer products, it is poised to transform the way the world uses power. Now, I couldn't get through this article without mentioning the documentary Who Killed the Electric Car. And now that I think about it, I gotta rewatch it. But I gotta pull this up. Who Killed the Electric Car? Put in Who Killed the E. It's the first suggestion in Google. But Who Killed the Electric Car? Wikipedia. 2006 documentary. Film that explores the creation, limited commercialization, and subsequent destruction of the battery electric vehicle in the United States, specifically the General Motors EV1 of the mid-90s. Yes, there was a practical electric car on the road in the United States being sold, financed. Tom Hanks did an interview about it on late night TV because he had one. That's one of the things I do remember from the documentary. But I want to watch it again because I believe I watched it pretty soon after it came out, and I had to check it out about 2006. And where was I in 2006? Shit. Long ways from where I am now, certainly in world awareness and ideology. But to learn that story, I think is really important. So as this says, first used in handheld camcorders in 1991. But even so, it says, that it got into the cars. This is part of the story that's been written out, and it's only because of this is another example of government suppressing the technology. Oh, there's the Tom Hanks clip. Thank you, CJ. And then it's another example of a technological leapfrog where government suppressed a lot of the technology. You say, who was the government? Well, if you watch Who Killed the Electric Car, you can judge for yourself. But it wouldn't have been possible without patents. It wouldn't have been possible without intellectual property. It wouldn't have been possible without them using the threat of government force to sequester those technologies and say that no one else could use them. So governments were used. You want to say government did it. You want to say the companies did it. I don't really care. But our responsibility does really lay with government. All right, you could say government was weaponized in this case too. But where we are now, as this article gets to, is that with that technology now having leapfrog, we are at the point with battery packs and electric engines and so much innovation that is around this that is made possible, that has been pushed forward through Tesla, that now batteries are, well, here's one example. The same batteries are being deployed on the power grid in growing numbers. Construction began in January on a battery in Florida that will use 2.5 million lithium ion cells, similar in chemistry to Tesla cells, only larger. Florida Power and Light, part of Next Era Energy Inc. said the battery will be capable of powering Disney World for 7 hours. And what this makes possible too in alternative energy, in solar and wind and hydroelectric, and you know, if you've ever played with a solar system, a solar power system, not a solar system. I don't want to say if you're some god who's been whipping planets around some sun other than ours, you're probably not watching the show right now. But if you've ever had a solar power electric system like we have here, which is about $2,000-3,000 altogether. Hard to say with the prices fluctuating and having bought pieces over time. But you have the solar panels. So in any kind of electric system like this, where you want to get it to an electric outlet, you at least have some version of these 4 basic elements. You have your power input element. You have, so in our case, solar. This could be water. This could, hydroelectric, could be wind. But this is the thing that takes whatever natural phenomena and turns it into an electric current. You have a charge controller, which takes that and charges the batteries and controls how much goes to the batteries. You can't just run that electricity directly into the batteries. I mean, maybe they'll have it built in. It's some kind of battery in the future, but there is an element of the function of a charge controller. There's the battery that's the storage for that energy, and then there's the inverter that converts from 12 volt or whatever that form of electricity is. And in our case, yes, we have solar panels that charge 12 volt through the charge controller into 12 volt golf cart batteries, then goes to an inverter, and that we get regular outlet power from that inverter. So one of the major choke points in taking full advantage of the first element, the other, the alternative systems of input, whether it's solar or hydroelectric or wind or whatever else created, I don't know, cow farts, methane, whatever it is, people are turning into, spinning some kind of mechanism that generates electricity, some kind of turbine or friction device or whatever it is. One of the limitations in getting that all the way to element 4 to the consumer, it's not the charge controller, it's the battery capacity. And it's the same thing here. One of the limits with this is that if we have a few cloudy days or we burn out our batteries with the usage here, then we're out of electricity. And in order to be able to compensate for the fluctuations of these natural phenomena on a large enough scale that you can power a city, you can power a car, you can power whatever, getting that battery capacity up is absolutely critical. And we are at the point where that is taking, we're getting to a new turning point in the efficiency where that is going to be applied to more and more and more things in your daily life. So really long article, a lot of cool tech stuff. If you want to get into it, link is in the notes as always. Another cool tech innovation here for me is a consumer choice vegan, which is the coolest kind of vegan because I don't have to be a dick about it. It's just that I don't buy animal products when I can avoid it. I'm not even strict about that. But I haven't, bought meat directly for my own consumption pretty consistently since I decided that this was going to be my ethical position. But one of the things that's more important is that we're going to render it obsolete, right? When I say that, when you eat meat or buy meat, you're killing an animal for your pleasure. Because you can live perfectly healthy on a vegetarian, if not a vegan diet, right? So you're killing an animal for pleasure, for the mouthfeel. And at some point, when you can get the exact, to already understand it that way makes it, to me, something you need to avoid morally. But when you could get 3D printed meat that tasted better than real meat, you have to be a special kind of inhumane to say, well, let's just kill animals anyway. So Cron.com has this headline, raising the stakes. Can we do this without the puns? First 3D printed ribeye is unveiled. An Israeli company unveiled the first 3D printed ribeye steak on Tuesday using a culture of live animal tissue. It could be a leap forward for lab-grown meat once it receives regulatory approval. Yeah, it's just government still. It's government slowing this down. But yeah, we're here. And by the way, my guilty pleasure, it's not vegan, I know, but I get the Beyond or the Impossible Whopper, Impossible Patties at Burger King. Oh, amazing. Better for me, for my taste buds, better than regular meat burger patties. We are already at this critical point, for me at least, where you can get a relatively cheap, commonly available vegetable patty that tastes better than meat. Yeah, we're there right now. As to actual meat, maybe we're not there yet, but we're pretty freaking close, and it might just be a few government hurdles slowing down this process. So during the coronavirus pandemic, alternative protein products have soared in popularity, prompting nearly every multinational food corporation to hasten to bring its own versions to market. Frequently plant-based products have been patties or processed nuggets, everyday food easier for companies to produce that aim to ease the climate effects of the worst offender. Americans eat nearly 50 billion burgers a year, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Now, so those are easier things, right? To make a patty or like ground beef, like you see, and I think Del Taco in their meat alternative products or Taco Bell. Those are pretty easy flavors to reproduce, but the complex texture and flavors together of meat, well, if they're growing it as real meat in the lab, nailed it, right? So yeah, it's just another cool thing on the horizon to look forward to, and look for opportunities to support this economically. If you can invest in companies that are doing this, I think it's a pretty safe bet economically that companies like this are going to be doing more business, not less. And if you can find opportunities to sample the latest, let me know, and send me anything that you see that you like in meat alternative products. A lot of it sucks, but anything that you like, and now it's coming to real meat without killing an animal. Amazing. Theweek.com, theweek.co.uk, excuse me. Flying cars, the race for the skies, the latest on, yes, Volkswagen are the latest company to explore potential technology. Yeah, even Volkswagen is getting in the game. So, and this was in China, and we've seen different vehicles as quadcopters, but where are we now? With VW exploring flying cars in China, recent advances in auto tech has led to rapid progress in electric vehicles and autonomous driving. The next step for car companies is vertical mobility. Yeah, does your car come with vertical mobility? Volkswagen has joined a growing number of firms looking into the potential of flying cars and is conducting a feasibility study in China. Beyond autonomous driving, the concept of vertical mobility could be a next step to take our mobility approach into the future, especially in China, the German company said in a statement. Therefore, we are investigating potential concepts and partners in a feasibility study to identify the possibility to industrialize this approach. So yeah, this is happening. Buckle up, stay tuned. All right, what do we have? We have a Producers Club note here. Kim would want to share this link, a tweet from Jeremy Boring. They can't cancel us if we don't let them. Yeah. All right. Cool. So, okay. This is something we'll get to this. But yeah, deadline. So there's a whole other cancel culture element to this, and apparently Ben Shapiro is getting into the movie business. Give me just a second. We get this tweet to load, and then click on the link, open a new tab. But this is a tweet from Jeremy Boring, quoting Gina Carano. Gina Carano hits back. This is the Deadline.com headline. Announces new movie project with Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire. They can't cancel us if we don't let them. Less than 24 hours after her explosive ouster from Star Wars series The Mandalorian for incendiary social media posts, Gina Carano has hit back at her detractors and revealed the new movie project she's making with conservative website The Daily Wire. Carano told us today, the Daily Wire is helping make one of my dreams to develop and produce my own film come true. I cried out. My prayer was answered. I'm sending out a direct message of hope to everyone living in fear of cancellation by the totalitarian mob. I've only just begun using my voice, which is now freer than ever before, and I hope it inspires others to do the same. They can't cancel us if we don't let them. Well, that's good news. That's a positive shift in media, that those opportunities are becoming real. And yeah, part of it is just cancel culture. Even if it's an angry mob that represents half the population, well, shit. the other half is going to be open to be taken advantage of for business, even if they are the more tolerant half. And right now, yeah, it does seem that there's a, and I don't want to play the left right game on this. I'm sure you can make the case that in other ways the right engages in far more offensive cancel culture than the left. I don't care, but to an extent that there is a left right bias where it's people on the left canceling things that are offensively conservative, that market is now going to be looking for conservative media. And I don't know if this is a good thing or not. I mean, I think the consolidation of media, of course, under Hollywood and the recording industry and intellectual property was a bad thing overall. But there was that, even before that, there were books that became global touchstones that maybe we might not get anymore in a world of splintered media, except then in viral videos. So instead of having The Mandalorian is something that a lot of people can relate to. It's the cat video, cat lawyer. All right, 025 Splinter Cello 2 writes, just woke from a dream with Vermin Supreme, telling me to check out your channel. And now I'm watching a live stream 2021, still doing 2020 things. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, keeping the dream alive here. All right, so we got a few more text stories. Oh, wait, another thing, another producer's chat. No, it's the same one, not clearing. There it goes. Kenyan woman's startup recycles plastic waste into bricks that are 5 times stronger than concrete. What was the comment there I missed? First domino, they can make cheese from your feet. Oh, champ. All right, we're not there yet. But yes, Kenyan woman startup recycles an appropriate comment to set up this next story. Kenyan woman startup recycles plastic waste into bricks that are 5 times stronger than concrete. And I love this picture of this woman smiling with the blonde dreads and holding up this brick. And I mean, I kind of wish she was in front of maybe the facility where this brick was made, with trash bags, but with trash behind her. This is amazing. Recycled plastic. It's about goddamn time. There's CJ playing the video. Thank you. Answering my prayers with the video showing you how these things are made. But really, how long has plastic trash been a problem? And it's taken us this long to figure out this formula. Now, I know there have been predecessors to this. This isn't, the first attempt at this, but now, yeah. Yep, making jobs, making bricks, innovating our way out of things. Love it. All right, next, related story, although created this time by an unnecessary, unnatural demand. Also, Good News Network. We use 6 billion face masks a day, but scientists have a genius way to turn them into roads. The idea of billions of people going through a few masks a week during this pandemic definitely rings alarm bells, but a team of researchers in Melbourne, Australia may have the solution. This is crazy. 6 billion face masks a day. I had to double check. Like, let's go. What is the world population? What is the world population? Put that in Google. World population clock says 7.8 billion people, and we're going through 6 billion masks a day. I mean, not just counting the places where there are no mask mandates, and most people aren't worried, or the virus, legitimately is not significantly present. How many people does this represent are going through multiple masks per day? I mean, the amount of just paranoia-driven garbage by this garbage is insane. But at least now they're figuring out some way to get through this. And I think at some point, the whole concept of worrying about garbage is going to become irrelevant. I really believe that, like the prior story, about turning plastic trash into bricks. Well, if we can turn cardboard into compost or grow mushrooms out of it, if we can, recycle food waste into compost, metals can be melted and recycled. Chemicals will still have to some extent, be isolated or processed and reused. But like, what's left? Like, and we're going to become so much more efficient and effective as consumers anyway. Things becoming more durable, but I think in packaging becoming more efficient, more effective. But I think, if you know that your recycling is so efficient, we got to this battery capacity, we power all of this by solar. You see how these stories are fitting together, right? So, but back to the masks. They've discovered that adding millions of discarded face masks to road paving mixtures would actually lower the cost of the road while diverting billions of them from landfills. Just 1 kilometer of road would need 3 million masks, and the polypropylene plastic used to make single-use surgical face masks also increased the flexibility and durability of the road. Okay, well, 3 million masks for a mile, and we're going through 6 billion a day. Let me just do the math on this. I got my calculator. I should have done this before the show. 6 billion masks divided by 3 million per mile of road equals 2,000. So we got to pave 2,000 more miles of road every day to absorb the masks that we're using. I hope I did the math right there. Sounds about right. But yeah, it's something. I don't think it's going to come about with masks going into roads. It's going to come about with like all plastic trash being recycled into bricks. It's going to be something more like that. All right, speaking of great tech innovations, Bloomberg has this headline: Dogecoin's creator is baffled by meteoric rise to $9 billion. Designer Billy Marcus used his coins to buy a Honda Civic. Cryptocurrency has returned 1,400% this year, aided by Reddit. Now, Dogecoin, I'm a fan. I love it. I think it's a monetary experiment. It's great. It has more credibility than a lot of crypto bullshit and scams out there. I do think it's a bit of a bubble, but it's like a mascot. It's like we're just investing in the mascot, and it's one of those trading coins. Like, does it have what's the value of it? Every time you say it, it makes you laugh. And hey, if your money does that, that value needs to be accounted for too. Serious big news though for Bitcoin from Yahoo Finance. This also via Bloomberg. Miami pushes crypto with proposal to pay workers in Bitcoin. Yeah, huge news. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez proposed paying municipal workers and collecting taxes in Bitcoin, expanding a campaign to promote crypto. The mayor wants to allow the city of Miami's workers to choose to receive all or a portion of their pay in Bitcoin, according to a resolution passed by the city's governing commission. In addition, the mayor proposed allowing people to pay all or part of property taxes or city fees in crypto. Wow. Now, I'm not one to count chickens before they're hatched, but if this goes through, this would be big. If you're in Miami, if there's something you can do to support your mayor making this happen, please do so. All right, I told you we couldn't contain COVID. Wall Street Journal has this next headline, and I'm not going to get into this. I read a few paragraphs and skimmed the rest, and it was like, this is what people are putting their effort into today. This is fucking sad. It is really sad. You think with COVID, the misdirection of attention, even the good intention, even the good things that are being done, is it better to have a safely overreactive posture towards COVID-19 or put that effort into, say, ending world hunger? So face masks go high tech, but do you need one? No, you don't. We tested a few smart app-enabled masks to see if they're too much trouble or a breath of fresh air. And I'm not at all surprised by this. It's just kind of gnarly to see it. What are we watching now?
Yeah, no, this is just in my basement. Welcome to CES 2021. Yes, the usually in Las Vegas consumer tech show is happening entirely online this year. So I'm covering it from here with my dog. He's not helping very much. And obviously in my slippers.
But this is in fact a new connected mask that's been introduced at the tech show. And this is a new smart doorbell with a thermometer built in. And this is a new mini air purifier.
Unsurprisingly, gadgets that try to protect you from browser, decide where you're going to sit. At home production. Unsurprisingly, gadgets that try to protect you from COVID-19 and gross germs in general are a pretty big deal at this year's show. And I decided to try to get some shipped to my home. Anyway, these anti-COVID gadgets, which fall into 3 different categories, are pretty out there. But that's what makes this CES just like every other CES.
Number 1, high-tech masks.
I am wearing an AirPop Active Plus smart mask.
This circle here isn't a filter. Those come with the mask and clip inside. This thing contains sensors that capture breathing-related data, temperature, and humidity. Then, via Bluetooth, it delivers.
Okay, stop. That's enough. I mean, oh man, this is my point made. This goes on and on. Links in the notes if you really want to get into this. Funny thing there is it's got that circle that looks like a vent, right? That says, and you know, that in some places it's like it's not allowed because it's not preventing. It's protecting you hypothetically, but it's not protecting your breath from getting out. So someone might get arrested or get in trouble or trigger some Karen for having one that's got one of those little circles on it. All right, so we got 3 more blocks to get to, but they're very short. I'm just didn't get a lot of stories in space exploration, understanding or alien life or understanding nature this week. But maybe I'll rearrange the blocks to make it more even. So we have time for one more caller. Let's get to Brian backstage is ready. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Awesome, man. I was in the chat a couple days ago. It's the guy that ordered the 200 books back in the day.
Yeah, man. Oh, yes, I remember. Thank you for that comment. I've been through a lot, and I'm sorry to jump ahead of you here, but the book has been through a lot. We've had a lot of crazy experiences over the last few years, but from people who believe in it, nothing but positive reviews. I would really love to get. I mean, I hate to say like an intern for now, but a staff person, even someone to just be the manager of Freedom and the brand, and develop the Freedom line and all of that, and get back to pushing books because the book still has a lot of momentum on its own. So thank you for reminding me of that, Brian.
That's awesome, man. I was gonna ask you, is there any plans for a sequel or?
Yeah, well, I have one book, and Mercedes is in the process of editing and analyzing for a self-production or self-publishing business plan around my war memoir. It's not really a sequel, but it's called Hot, Dirty, and Dangerous: How 7 Months in Fallujah Challenged My Patriotism. And I'm hoping to have that done in the next few months and be ready to do a quick tour by it around the end of the year. Not sure what's going to be possible, and it's hard to predict with COVID. It's very discouraging of making those kinds of plans. But if we get the editing and publishing business plan done in the next month or two, and we make a little money with it, I would love to do some kind of book tour for that this fall. And then sometime before running again for the presidential nomination in 24, I am going to do another book that is more like a sequel to Freedom, called American Freedom, that focuses on, and it was really the manifesto of the campaign and the platform, and making the case for America being better off without the federal government. Which the more the problem with that project is the more I put it off, the easier it gets.
That's awesome, man. You nailed it with Freedom, knocked it out of the park. Like I said, that's like my Bible. I give that thing to everybody, and this answers all the questions. Like you nailed it, like everything in there. The way you say some of the things, like it's different perspective, but it's kind of like that Mark Victor guy too. He's doing it too. It's just that makes it more simpler. That whole live and let live philosophy. Yeah. It just nails it, simplifies it down, So
now that you remind me, if I were to do another update to the Freedom book, I might make an effort to include. Just the Freedom book free in every digital format at thefreedomline.com. And if we tour again, we'll be giving these away, of course. But the idea of live and let live, that as messaging and inserting that as critical to this philosophy, I think that messaging consciousness was very important in the development of the book. It doesn't have the word libertarian in it. It uses the word freedom instead of liberty. It doesn't have any historical specifics or even examples, it's globally applicable, and it's good until governments cease to be coercive, violent monopolies that hold humanity back. So, yeah, thank you for noticing that.
Yeah. A couple other quick questions. I'll let you go. When I hopped in here, I heard you talking about technology, and I know you talk about in that Freedom book there too. But I don't know if you've ever heard of the Alien Scientist YouTube channel. I don't know, he's kind of a big
Not
science.
that channel specifically,
No.
but I would
he's
guess
on,
I'm familiar with some of the ideas discussed therein.
yeah, he talks a lot about free energy technology, UFOs, crazy stuff, but he's pretty big into it. He's on Tim Dillon's podcast the other day, and it kind of brought his channel up pretty big. He passed 100,000 subscribers or whatever, but I think it'd be really interesting if you could interview him and get a connection going there too, because he's doing this thing called the APEC conference. And what he's doing is kind of, I don't know if you know who Stephen Greer is in the Disclosure Project, but they're trying to get all these scientists who've been involved in these like black budget programs to come forward and try and release the information that they got and bring this technology to humanity and free us from this shit.
Mm. But, that leads me to believe, like, in the course of the universe itself, there's going to be a convergence of intelligent creatures developing the technology to explore until they come into contact with each other. And either they're all out there hiding from us, or we're among the first and we haven't connected yet. But there is going to be some kind of, interplanetary technological convergence if we're not alone. I don't think we are. I think it's given the infinite nature of the universe, it's much more likely to believe that there are other intelligent life forms developing technology on other planets. And so at some point we're going to meet, and there's going to be a sharing of technologies, and perhaps even throughout the entire universe of multiple intelligent species, different biological groundings, all coming into. All right, I'll stop fantasizing. Thank you for stimulating that thought, Brian. Send us that link. We'll get you in the Producers Club chat, and put the link in there, and or at least in StreamYard. I'd like to check out that YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks for taking the call. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother. All right, wrapping up our last 3 blocks very quickly, because we've only got 2 headlines to go here in the exploration block. Maybe I missed stuff, but nothing else. If you want more, send it to us in the Producers Club. Space.com. NASA picks SpaceX Falcon Heavy to launch first Gateway space station pieces to the moon. NASA has selected SpaceX to deliver the first 2 segments of the moon orbiting Gateway space station for its upcoming Artemis program, which aims to put astronauts back on the moon. The elements will launch atop a Falcon Heavy rocket sometime in 2024. So this is looking ahead a few years. But yeah, just think about what is, and I'm not even going to, I could bitch to no end about the money and the corporate. I'll stop. I just want to celebrate that we are at this point with technology. This is happening. Also from space.com, China's first Mars mission, Tianwen-1, successfully enters orbit around Red Planet. That's right, the nation's first fully homegrown Mars mission, Tianwen-1, arrived in orbit around the Red Planet today, February 10th, a few days ago, obviously. According to Chinese media reports, the milestone makes China the 6th entity to get a probe to Mars, joining the U.S., the Soviet Union, the European Space Agency, India, and United Arab Emirates, whose Hope orbiter made it to the Red Planet just yesterday. And today's achievement sets the stage for something even more epic a few months from now, the touchdown of Tianwen-1's lander-rover pair on a large plane in Mars's northern hemisphere called Utopia Planitia, which is expected to take place this May. I want to go to Utopia Planitia. I could say it a couple different ways. Planitia. Utopia Planitia, your new vacation destination, which is expected to take place this May. China doesn't typically publicize details of its space missions in advance, so we don't know for sure exactly when that landing will occur. So lots of cool graphics if you're watching on screen. Thank you, CJ, for sharing all of that. All right, now moving on to alien life. Fox News. No, Fox News isn't aliens. They're lizard people. They're talking about aliens. Twitter lights up with UFO talk after light seen in Florida sky turns out to be Navy missile. Aww. It's not the first time a rocket or missile test has been mistaken for aliens. Strange light over the South Florida sky Tuesday evening had many residents bracing for extraterrestrial contact, but it turned out to be the Navy testing a missile. And I am going to make this one about government. Stop fucking with stupid and crazy people. And if it wasn't for, I bet most of the UFO stuff that we've seen in the sky has been military that just they never admitted, or that they don't want to admit, or just screw them for stressing people out with silly shit like this. All right, and now to our last section, understanding nature. This is a very cool story from Good News Network. Tiny chameleon species just discovered in Madagascar is a spectacular case of extreme miniaturization. Holy crap. Yes, it is. This is just, you got to see this picture. This is a chameleon, has been declared by science as currently the world's smallest reptile. Now, I would imagine there's some like reptilian, like snake worm thing that's tinier than this, but that would not be as cool because it's just like, a line of a creature. This thing has like just tiny, cute little legs and toes and a tail and tiny little chameleon eyes, and it fits on your fingertip. The male Brooksianana or nano chameleon measures less than an inch long, while the females stretch just past an inch. Chameleons are famous for their extending sniper rifle tongues, their ability to change color, and their funny little karate chop oven mitt-like hands that allow them to cling to tree branches. Brooksianana, in contrast, is more at home on the forest floor and can't even change color. Now, the research scientists in their paper describing it said extremely miniaturized animals are generally thought to face physiological challenges that limit further size reductions, yet miniaturization has independently evolved many times. The repeated evolution of such an extreme phenotype suggests that natural selection can offer favor its emergence, but currently our understanding of miniaturization and the underlying evolutionary pressures is far from complete. Examples of extreme miniaturization are fascinating for scientists to study, since the overwhelming majority of vertebrates grow in size as they grow older. Compared to its body size, the male Brooksianana has the third largest reproductive organ of any of the dwarf chameleons and the fifth largest of 52 examined chameleons of other species. This is thought to be an absolute necessity, the scientist explains, since if it were any smaller, it perhaps wouldn't be able to reproduce at all. At 1 millimeter long, the hemipenis, an internally stored sex organ, is as big as the chameleon's head, which was actually the piece of the puzzle which confirmed beyond any doubt that it was indeed an adult male the scientists were looking at and not a juvenile. So more fun stuff when reptiles are pressured to get extremely tiny. Makes you wonder if the Tyrannosaurus Rex had a micro penis. And on that note, that's our good news for the day. Let's check in with Comment Jim Freedom for our wrap up promos and to check in with the audience and comments before we sign off for this day and with this day's good news in history.
Outstanding. That was a good block. Everybody had fun with that. Everybody loves it. I just want to point out real quick that James Freeman live streams is in the house. You know who James Freeman is, right? The First Amendment auditor, YouTuber.
Yeah.
He has two channels. He was here. He's here in the audience watching. He said Mars is flat. So just good information. It's cool. I was just watching him earlier too. That's funny. I was trying to get him. I talked to him. I was watching a live stream of James Freeman where one of the ones he was just in his truck interacting with commenters, and I threw out a comment telling him I wanted to get him on our show, and he reacted. He was like, "Yeah," he said he would talk to that. So I sent him an email. Hopefully, sorry, CJ. Gives me important business.
No, thank you, James. Thank you, Jim, for that wonderful comment and lurking but driving. James Freeman, yeah, thank you so much for James. Love to have you on. Whatever you want to do, maybe present some of your videos to my audience. Do a quick chat, just promote your channel. whatever, make it happen. Text me, call me, whatever, or email our booker Marcus Marcus at thefreedomline.com. Any other good
For
comments,
sure.
Tim? Any other trolls to feed?
Excuse me. Before I forget, I wanted to remind D. Vincent W. who's still on, and Brian, the second caller we had today. He actually won Producers Club from 2 days before. So both of them, please email me, Jim at thefreedomline.com. Thank you, CJ. Email me there, and I'll get you access into the Producers Club as per your victorious competition. So yeah, Euban T-Rolled says, yeah, but where's my hazmat suit though? He was saying that when that chick was talking about the all the technology crap that they were coming out with, anti-COVID crap. Let's see. D. Vincent W said, stupid people force others to tolerate bullshit. I'm sick of tolerating it. I think many of us share that sentiment. Everybody's sick of tolerating ignorance. Yeah. You've been T-rolled suggesting that when they said it goes to Bluetooth, that little circle thing right there, goes straight to the NSA, like everything else, like this stream is going to right now. I just want to know how much money has been made in sales tax for masks and COVID-related protection items. It's a stupid number, just like all the other taxes that they've been collecting since we've all been alive. So it's a number that'll just make you want to throw up if you knew the truth, probably.
Yeah.
Just think of the worst. Tell yourself what's the worst case scenario and come up with the biggest number you can think of in your head and then double that, and then you're probably still short.
Yep, fair enough.
One more real quick. We had, I know we're getting close to time here.
Comments.
Actually, we're over time.
Give me some good news comments.
Well, D. Vincent W., I like his idea. He said, I'd love to create a 90-minute video to accompany Adam's book with visuals that correlate with the message.
Well, it's cool. 2 hours and 7 minutes. Or the audio is 3 hours and 7 minutes. And it's... someone tried doing that, like a video book for it, and kind of spazzed out as the project. What's that?
It'd be a movie, essentially.
Yeah,
like a documentary or something.
Well, it could be, it could be good enough that you could sit down and watch the whole thing, but also as individual videos for each section. And if I had all my other projects, then I'd take that on and do it myself. But I was trying to work with someone to do what I wanted to do was get someone to do a first draft, right? To follow basic instructions and fill in everything that they could, and then have someone do a second pass where they watch theirs, and every time they can think of a clip that's better, I get to look and decide which clip is better for illustrating that sentence or phrase, and then send it to another person, have like multiple passes to make sure that we have, multiple minds, creative effort, decide, figuring out what's the best clip, historical reference or video, whatever, or data or graphic or whatever, illustrating each exact point. And the first guy on the project refused to release the files and just kind of soured me on the whole thing. But I think it's still a great idea. If someone wanted to jump into that, it'd be a fun project.
Yeah, that would be cool. So we're over time anyways. Let me run you through the promos. If you want to be as cool as D. Vincent W. and Brian Shiloh today, who won access into the Producers Club, you can go to adamversustheman.com and you can click on the Patreon link and see the different levels of membership that we have for Adam versus the Man supporting the show. The $10 support level is what gets you access into the Producers Club that they want access into. So if you don't want to wait for a future show to be able to win access and participate in the contest or calling in, then you can just purchase $10 a month, gets you access like 2 cups of coffee a month. It's a great time. Links 24 hours a day. It's a 24-hour a day conversation pretty much. I guess there is a few hours in the middle of the night where people are everybody's taking a nap, I guess, but
this is me there.
There's also Yeah, there's also a public Telegram channel that everybody is welcome to join, t.me/Adam versus the man. And you can share your ideas there as well. Obviously, there's that's a fun, great time, and you can participate with the show, but it's just next level to be in the private producers club. So after you do that, go back to adamversustheman.com, check out the story CJ's put together, check out all the merchandise that we have with our Freedom logos on it, Adam versus Man logos. Jim versus Man logos. We can even look into getting stuff personalized. We're adding new stuff, adding new logos like the new Do You Even Freedom Bro shirt that CJ put in the Producers Club. If you were in the Producers Club, you'd see the merch first as it's created. Producers Club and Better patrons get 15% off and free shipping also on everything at our store. So have fun with that. Get as much as you want. Then go back to the website that has everything, adamversustheman.com, and click on Cigar Federation. That's our affiliate programs. They have multiple flavors of exotically flavored cigars, delicious. They even have a CBD infused JSK Nug cigar that's awesome. Promo code Adam10 gets you 10% off your entire order there. So have fun with that. And lastly, please go to Instagram and follow at the Garden of Freedom, and keep up with everything that's going on with Adam up there in Gardenia in his personal life. So that's fun as well. So enjoy that. With that, back to you, Adam.
All right. The only piece of good news from this day in history is that it was 1809. Charles Darwin, the father of evolutionary science, whose 1859 book, The Origin of Species, introduced the concept of natural selection, was born. So happy birthday, posthumously, Mr. Darwin. And with that, mwah, peace and love, y'all. Choose happiness and be excellent to each other.